And thanks for joining us on the News at 10 on NTA News 24. We are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Eid Mubarak to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Let's begin with the headlines. Muslims in Nigeria join their counterparts across the globe to celebrate Eid el-Kabir. NAFDAC set to lift ban on sachet products. And federal government directs NSCDC to protect transmission infrastructure. President Bola Tinubu extends his warm congratulations to President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa on his re-election. The president also congratulates the people of South Africa on the peaceful and successful conduct of the general election. While wishing President Ramaphosa a successful term in office, President Tinubu calls for the strengthening of bilateral ties between Nigeria and South Africa as strategic partners in Africa for the overall advancement of the continent. And President Bola Tinubu celebrates with the Muslim Ummah on the joyous occasion of Eid el-Kabir, an event that denotes sacrifice, faith, and obedience to the will of Almighty Allah. The President congratulates the Muslim faithful and prays that Allah accepts their supplications and acts of obedience. President Tinubu wants Nigerians to reflect on the essence of the occasion, which bears the strong meaning and significance for the nation. He also emphasizes that sacrifice and duty are essential ingredients to nation building, noting that it takes collective purpose, will, and action to bring about great change. President Tinubu calls on citizens to spare a prayer for the nation for continuous peace and stability while working according to purpose in promoting unity, peace, and progress. The president acknowledges the sacrifices that Nigerians have made in the past 1 year as his administration sets the nation on a firm pedestal of growth and development. President Tinubu affirms that the sacrifices and great expectations of citizens will not come to naught, as already propitious outcomes are beginning to manifest, with the economy strengthening and vibrancy returning to critical sectors. The president reassures Nigerians that his administration is prioritizing their physical, social, and economic security and will not relent on this noble endeavor. President Tinubu wishes Nigerians a happy Salah celebration. Now, about 2 million pilgrims have observed the 2024 Arafat Day, climaxing this year's pilgrimage to Mecca. Jamilu Ibrahim, who is among the Nigerian contingent, reports on the annual spectacle which attracts representation from across the globe.
The Mount of Arafat. It is located about 20 kilometers southeast the holy city of Mecca. It is around this vicinity that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, delivered his farewell sermon more than 1,400 years ago. About 2 million Muslims from across the globe are converging on this vicinity, climaxing the 2024 Hajj exercise. The pilgrims are trooping towards this site, and in fact, some of them are striving to climb the hill, despite the fact that it is not recommended in Islam. They defy the scorching heat, which now reaches 48 degrees Celsius, to climb the hill.
There's no need of anybody climbing the Mount of Arafat, so it's not part of Hajj rites, but you cannot stop them.
The pilgrims will be leaving the vicinity of Arafat to Muzdalifah, which is an open place between the road of Mina and that of Arafat. They will perform Maghrib and Isha prayers there, spend a night there, and later go back to Muna to perform the symbolic stoning of the devil. From Arafat in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Thank you, Jamilu. And in the spirit of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, widows have benefited from a philanthropist who has seen the need to help the less privileged and support governments in efforts to make life easier in the current economic hardship. This is a courtesy of the Hadiza Mamanvatsa Foundation. In continuation of its kindness and generosity to the less privileged, the Hadiza Mamanvatsa Foundation was at the Karu local government area in a special celebration of Eid al-Kabir. Warmly received by residents led by the chairman of the Karu Local Government Council, James Thomas, this was a happy occasion for them and Hadiza Mamanvatsa. As has been her consistent practice, and coming from a deprived background, she showed her philanthropic nature with the distribution of food items and other essentials needed for daily living, as well as cash gifts to the widows, widowers and other beneficiaries. A cow was also sacrificed to mark Eid al-Kabir.
You know, the car you have, it cannot take you to anywhere. You have 10 houses. You cannot sleep in all of them in one day. I believe the one God has blessed me, I want to give back to society. And that is why I am here. Because I believe everything we have, we borrow. So we leave everything and go. So what is left? The only thing that gives me joy is to give back to people. I see people happy.
For them to put hand in their mouth is always very difficult but some people who are going to benefit today, I know they will never forget this day and what the foundation has done to them. So we're so happy, most especially at the grassroots. We're supposed to do that, but people come in like this to augment what we're doing. What appreciation. So that's why I said whatsoever program I'm having, I'll just spare my time to come and show support to what this foundation are doing.
Well, it's a wonderful program. I must be sincere. On a more realistic note, I celebrate her good gesture, her empathy, and vision.
Thank you for Ajia, why help us widow to eat food with our children, why care for us. May God bless her.
The foundation has in the past year toured the country on such philanthropic endeavors to give support to governments as it strives to ease the burden on Nigerians. Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News. In other news, the House of Representatives says the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has expressed readiness to lift the temporary ban placed on the production and sale of alcoholic beverages in sachets. Deputy spokesman of the House and member of the Committee on NAFDAC, Philip Agbesis, while addressing National Assembly correspondents in Abuja, said this follows multiple engagements with the agency and other stakeholders. He notes that it was agreed that implementation of the ban was at a wrong time, considering the present economic situation in the country. He said the initial 5-year moratorium allowed for manufacturers to phase out beverages in sachets and small bottles was insufficient due to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The lawmaker said the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Moji Adeyeye, has agreed to take a second look at the ban to consider manufacturers with a human face. Following frequent cases of attacks on power infrastructure in the country, the federal government has directed the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, to protect transmission lines and towers nationwide against vandals. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo gave the directive in Abuja. Joshua Ojito reports.
Nigeria's power infrastructure, especially the transmission arm of the value chain, is under threat with activities of vandals pulling down towers and disrupting electricity supply as well as affecting stability of the grid. Northeastern part of the country appears to be the worst hit, as more than 6 incidents of vandalism of transmission towers have been recorded within few months this year, with the recent vandalism of 2 newly reconstructed towers along Damaturu-Maiduguri transmission line. For now, electricity supply has been disrupted in Maiduguri and environs.
A lot of our equipment, especially transmission towers, they are vandalized, especially in the northeast. Some of it is sabotage, some terrorists, and some people who just want to make some money out of it. TCN is collaborating with all these security agencies to make sure that our lines are well protected.
Now, federal government has given marching order to Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps to keep eagle eye and secure power infrastructure.
It is not reasonable, it's not acceptable for a country like Nigeria to spend billions of dollars on power infrastructure or for it to be vandalized. No country grows or develops without a power sector. So NSCDC, it is time for you to pay your back in terms of the power sector.
Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And as part of efforts to rejig the security apparatus of the nation and maintain the integrity of the Nigerian Legion, the military and its uniformed personnel, the National Council of the Nigerian Legion has announced the immediate deranking of all officers of the Corps of Commissioner from the rank of Commandant General to Assistant Sector Commander. A 4-point communique at the end of the 2024 National Council meeting in Abuja says the development becomes necessary due to national security concerns and the need to check regulatory non-compliance, incidents of impersonation, illegal possession of firearms and other unwholesome practices. The communique, signed by the Secretary General of the Nigerian Legion on behalf of the National Chairman Nigerian Legion, Major General Abdul Malik Jibril, says the directive takes effect from 6th June 2024. The communique, which has been copied to the Minister of Defense, all service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police and all other security agencies, says any violator of this directive will be arrested and dealt with in accordance with the laws of the land. You're watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. More reports after this break. Stay with us.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to NTA News24, DSTV Channel 419, GoTV Channel 26, StarTimes Channel 101 and 433, and Free TV Channel 703.
Thanks for staying with us. The need for government to improve border security and have a review of policy on the use of small arms has been stressed. This formed part of proposals made at a meeting of the West African Action Network on Small Arms with the leadership of the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria in Abuja. Francis Udojo has the report.
Concerns about the safety of lives and property and guaranteeing food security, the groups believe setting up improved measures on border security could checkmate proliferation of small arms and its consequences.
We want to use this opportunity, just like we have been directed by other international agencies, to appeal to Mr. President to strengthen and support the Office of the National Security Advisor towards its issues concerning proliferation of small arms and light weapons, mobilize them, increase their engagement with the civil societies so that Nigeria can be better for it.
Issues bordering on food security as it relates to header farmers' clashes and the need to checkmate the activities of foreign nomadic suggest a collaborative effort of stakeholders.
Something must be done to control these borders. The federal government should work hard with all the relevant agencies to come up with a policy that can regulate the movement through these borders.
The of cows and famine are two critical issues that contribute to the economy of the nation. To be sincere with you, the issue of ranging will be one of the agenda that the federal government should look into properly.
The groups, however, urged the federal government to identify with the United Nations Policy Review Plan on small arms while working with critical stakeholders using the bottom-top approach to tackling all forms of insecurity in the nation. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Taraba State government will make the state investor-friendly by continuously supporting the security agencies. Governor Agbu Kefas made this known while receiving the Commander Operation World Stroke, Brigadier General Louis Lepdong, who paid him a courtesy visit. Bem Hanya reports.
The Commander Operation World Stroke, Brigadier General Louis Lepdong, who has the mandate of curbing banditry and other forms of criminality in Benue, Nasarawa and Taraba states, is paying his first official visit to Governor Bukefas since his posting. The governor assured that his administration will continue supporting the military to make their operations effective and the state conducive to investors and tourists, while calling on the military to be professional and civil in building confidence among citizens. Governor Kefas disclosed his desire to convene a conference with the governors of neighboring states in Nigeria and those of the Republic of Cameroon aimed at improved security.
Your presence here is not just to depend on the federal. You are working for us, and that's why where people are agitating for state police and so on, I refuse to make any comment because already what we are taught is the use of initiative. So while they are busy talking, I'm making use of the federal asset I have in the state to make sure that they function and perform their responsibility.
The commander of Operation Wild Stroke, Brigadier General Lepdong, assured the governor of their commitment to ensuring security in the state and commended him for his assistance to the armed forces. He suggested that the state government should set up a commission to address the issues of land disputes, particularly in border communities where insecurity is most felt.
We have things like land disputes, which is common within communal crisis. The need for you to form a committee that should look into most of these issues and come out with some of decisions, and then it to be implemented.
Brigadier General Lepdong assumed duty as commander of Operation Wild Stroke in March this year. In Jalingo, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
You've been watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Here is a recap of our top stories. Muslims in Nigeria join their counterparts across the globe to celebrate Eid al-Kabir. NAFDAC set to lift ban on sachet products. And the federal government directs NSCDC to protect transmission infrastructure. Now, there are high expectations and hopes from farmers every year for a bumper cropping season as the rains set in. But what are the implications of consistent and high volumes of rain during the planting season? Here is Tessie Amiri to tell us more.
The rains are here again and farmers are busy planting and of course clearing the fields in anticipation of a bumper harvest as they contribute in achieving food security in the country.
It's few weeks into the raining season in most parts of the north-central region, including Abuja, as the frequency of downpour increases. With excitement, this family and other farmers are busy clearing the land and planting crops like maize, groundnut among others, considered as early crops for the season.
To plant groundnut and corn. As you see me here, I've not been farming. I'm a civil servant, but because of the challenges in Nigeria today, that is why I said, let me come and farm. We want government to assist us in reducing the price of fertilizer.
We are scared to come into the farm because of insecurity. We are not having security. So please, government should help us.
It will help resolve all this hardship.
Although Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, predicts that this year's rainy season, which starts late, will be brief, hence the need for farmers to be aware of the weather pattern and maximize food production.
The growing season is going to be short in all parts of all the states of the country, with the exception of 3, that is Akwa Ibom, Rivers, and Cross River. That being the case, then it means you can say that out of the 37 states, which is 36 plus FCT, the prediction is showing that the length of the growing season is going to be shorter. And the implication of this, it means farmers should try as much as they can to go after seeds that are shorter maturity. They should not plant the seeds that they have been planting.
You have to study your environment. Is it a swampy area? You have to know. Is it a place where you can plant rice or cocoyam, sugarcane, plantain, bananas? All this, you have to study your environment, know the nature of the soil you have within your community.
Also, with prediction for flooding in most parts of the country, there are calls for farmers to avoid planting crops that will require minimal water in flood-prone areas.
Those that are beside very close to riverbank, they should be able to see how they can store water for irrigation, so that when the rain stops, they can now use the facility, they can now use the water to irrigate their farms.
While in most parts of the north, farmers are clearing their lands and planting crops, but adherence to weather advisory by farmers will go a long way to reduce losses and ensure bumper harvests.
Now clearing and planting in progress in most of the farms visited, with prospects of harvest in few months' time. So I hope to be back during the bumper harvest as these farmers smile to the bank. In Abuja, Tessie Omeri, NTA News.
Muslims in Nigeria have been admonished to emulate the lessons of Eid al-Adha, and here are the details of the various messages.
Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Abdullahi Umar Gandoje, has extended his warmest congratulations to Muslim Ummah in Nigeria on the occasion of Eid al-Adha. In a statement, the APC national chairman said the festival of sacrifice is a celebration of faith, obedience, and devotion, while urging Nigerians to emulate the values of sacrifice, compassion, generosity that are embodied in the spirit of Eid al-Adha. He charged them to be united in celebrating the nation's diversity and strength. He enjoined Nigerians to reflect on the lesson of festival by sustaining its values and principles in support of Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu's administration in his steady steps to make Nigeria great. Similarly, the People's Democratic Party has felicitated with the Muslim faithful on the 2024 Eid Kabir celebration, urging Nigerians to use the occasion to strengthen their independence in God's unfailing mercies and reinforce unity, love, brotherly care, mutual respect, and sense of patriotism in all their dealings. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Deborah Ologwagba, in a statement says, this is the only way the nation and citizens can survive some of the prevailing challenges confronting the country. The PDP also encouraged Nigerians not to despair, but continue to be their brother's keeper and use the Eid Kabir celebration to further reach out, share, and care for one another in love and hope. Also, he prayed for the nation and wishes Muslim faithful Eid Kabir celebration. In the same vein, the Inter-Party Advisory Council has felicitated with Muslims across the country on this year's Eid Kabir celebration, urging them to use the occasion to pray renew their faith in Allah and in the nation. He enjoined the Muslim Ummah, did all Nigerians to imbibe the virtues of obedience, sacrifice, love, tolerance, peace, and patriotism as governments strive to build a strong, varied, united, progressive, equitable, and prosperous democratic society. Urged governments at all levels to formulate and implement people-oriented policies and projects that will assuage the sufferings of the masses. Former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, has congratulated Muslim faithful on the celebration of this year's Eid Kabir festival, calling it a celebration of God's love and mercy to mankind. The former Vice President, who is also the Waziri, Adamawa, in a statement noted that the celebration of Eid, as stated in the scripture, is not merely a fanfare, but an admonition for forbearance and compassion in every situation. The former Vice President called on governments at all levels to be deliberate in initiating that will ease the hardship that confronts Nigerians.
And that concludes the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunle. Once again, Eid Mubarak.